Whoa!
Ooh, welcome back, everybody. I have a statement from the corrections department before we get going about my last episode, where I mentioned that the NPC invader we killed before Champion Gundyr drops some items that will respawn if she falls off of the cliff like she did for me. But I was mistaken. She drops nothing, so don't bother going back to try to find them. With that, let's move on and tackle, or at least start to tackle, what is, I think, the biggest area of the entire game, or at least the longest. Grand Archives, which would make sense considering it's the last story related area in the game. There's one more area we're going to do after this, but it's technically optional. This is the last required area. So with that, we're going to open this door. And what you want to do is when you get to the top of these stairs, run forward because a crystal sage will spawn and start firing spells at you. And you want to try to get as many hits in on this thing before it disappears as possible. It's going to teleport to a new area and start shooting spells at you. So leave the area immediately and turn left, where there's a thrall who will run away, and if you chase it, one will drop from behind you. So turn around and take care of that guy, then turn back around and take care of the first one. Now we can move up and grab this item. Now we can drop down. We want to be moving quite consistently because that crystal sage is going to be attacking us from wherever it is. And move forward to kill this crystal lizard. There's nothing up ahead here except the way back down to where we just were. So instead, come around here to drop down. We'll get this item in a minute, but for right now we have a little bit of a maze. And we're safe from the crystal sage from here. We're first going to take this little left where we can go around to get that item that we saw, but be careful of the thrall. So go ahead and drop down and make it back over here, but this time we'll continue forward and take a right, where there's another thrall. And you just see the cape, the robe of the crystal sage peeking through the floor way up there. But we can get this Titanite chunk, and then we'll turn around to see some scholars. These strange wax-covered enemies don't pose too much of a threat, but can still hurt, so don't take them too lightly. The ones you want to watch out for are the ones that have their candle lit at the top of their head, because they can cast spells, and, yeah, see, here it goes. They'll throw wax at you, which slows you down and makes it so you cannot dodge roll. And they have slightly more health. So, before we examine this pool of wax, which we're going to be using, come up here and up these stairs as an item. Then we can go back down those stairs. And we're actually going to loop around to this bookshelf. But keep your guard up because there's a red-eyed Lothric Knight. I actually want to see if my black fire orb does any extra damage against this guy. Nope. Oh, he is not dead. He also has a crystal weapon, which deals more damage. There we go. So with him down, we can go around here. And on the balcony is a Titanite chunk. And in the room is a crystal chime. Head back out, and I want to explain what the wax is for. In the next room, on the right here, are several books that actually house these purple ghostly hands that when they come into contact with you will deal some slight damage, but deal it very quickly. And more importantly, they'll build up curse. However, dunking your head in wax completely negates their entire damage and their curse buildup. So before we go in the next room, do this so that we blend in with the scholars. Now we're going to find 2 crystal lizards in here that we want to try to chase down, which is easier said than done because they like to run away. So the first one runs up the stairs here. See, there's the hands. And the second one is on the other side of this pillar. And if one escapes, you'll have to travel elsewhere and then reload and try again. But over here is a soul along with a booby trap of hands. And on the other side of it, somewhere around here, there it is a lever. Next to the stairs that we chase the crystal lizard up. Which drops a bookshelf on the left. That houses a chest. With a decent pyromancer's weapon. And a decent pyromancy, the power within. A lot of people like that one as it slowly deals damage to yourself in the exchange for a large increase to your physical damage. So it's a pretty good spell if you are more melee oriented. So then move ahead, and there will be a scholar on the left, along with an item. And another scholar that can cast will come through the doorway. And now things get a little tricky here. First go to the right and get this item. Then kick down the ladder ahead of you when you entered. So you can hear people casting, that's where things get tricky. Kill this crystal lizard quickly if you can, but be careful because the crystal sage is directly above us, ready to wreak havoc. So slowly move ahead. Oh, I'm out of stuff. And you can come into this kind of doorway, archway for a little bit of respite. So I find that the best thing to do here is from this area we can climb up this ladder and get a pretty good vantage point on the crystal sage. But you want to be careful because there are some scholars to the right, yeah, to the left and to the right that can cast spells at you. So before we rush in, I think it's best to try to hit him with some spells, but the pillars here make that a little difficult. So try your best to lock on and get a good vantage point till he goes away. And then back out before you get shot at. And let's go back down the ladder. Because now we want to head up those stairs on the left here. Take care of that thrall. 2 more will drop down. The crystal sage is across from us now, right there. So it's worth noting that he can still tag us. Heal up. And they were guarding an extra wax pool. So activate that if you need to. And now we can grab this. Ooh, nice. We can now activate the lever over here. Ooh. Which lowers a bookcase way down there. If we were brave enough to stay there, you would see it. And before we go take care of the Crystal Sage for good, on the balcony out here was some Homeward Bones. So now, let's go fight several enemies. Because up these stairs, let's move slowly because we've got several. Oh, there they are. Alright, back down. Several sages and scholars, but more importantly, 2 thralls drop on you. And you don't want to have to fight all of them at the same time, so back down the stairs to take out the thralls. Now we can move on to take out this guy. And then go back to take out this one. Obviously, you have to make sure. Ooh, died there. So stand right here so you don't get shot. I was saying, obviously, you have to have a wax head for that. Now we can come back. And up here is a thrall, along with another thrall, along with another scholar. So back down to take out this one. This one likes to just stay up there and throw fire bombs. So wait for him to throw one and then attack, because you're relatively safe up here from the scholar. Then you can drop down and get him. So I had to go back and dunk my head. Ow. And if you need to, make sure you do, because up ahead are several hands, and on the left is another scholar guarded along with this item. And now we can finally go down this way and drop down this balcony. Let's heal. And let's take this guy out for good. When he does, he will drop the crystal scroll. And it's finally out of our hair. And now you can move forward, and you might notice a gap on the left we can use to drop down on top of some shelves, which actually contain a crystal lizard somewhere. You can hear it. There is. Drop down to get that, and then we can drop down multiple more times. And if you pulled the lever in front of the Crystal Sage, that was behind the Crystal Sage's second location, then you dropped a bookshelf right here. And going through here leads to a chest with an incredible Titanite slab. We can now fully upgrade our Chaos Broadsword. So now we're going to return all the way back to the balcony that the Crystal Sage teleported to the first time. Make sure you have a wax head before we start making our way there. We're going to curve up the stairs on the left and return to that lone scholar past all the hands, because this is how we can drop down to that item that you might have just seen. So slowly inch your way forward to grab it. And then we're actually going to drop on top of those bookshelves way down there. Before we do, though, let's equip the silver cat ring. And then you can drop down. Make sure you really push forward so that you don't miss them. And then on the left, we have the Avelin, which is an extremely good crossbow. Make sure you put your sage ring back. And now backtrack once again. All the way to where just before we dropped to the bridge, whoops, to get the crystal sage for the last time. It's the area that had all the books with hands on the ground. Not this way. See, this place is a maze. And might as well dunk your head again if you need to. And so here, if you come down this way, there's a ladder that we can take. But to the left of it is a Titanite scale. And down here, if you want to grab this real quick, although we're probably going to come here again anyway, is a Shriving Stone. Back up the ladder, though, there's a secret. Oh. Whoops. Right here on this wall is actually an illusion. So get rid of that and switch over to your Chaos Bed vestiges, because we have another Boreal Knight. He's got his back turned, but don't let that fool you. He will see you coming, but you can get close enough to get the lock on and initiate the first ranged attack. Please go away. Go away. Go away. Heal. These guys are so aggressive. Alright. When you kill him, though, you get a full set of his armor. So now, continue through this room. Find a strangely moaning hollow with a sorcery. And then backtrack back to that ladder. And so actually now we could have gotten that item that's at the bottom of it. But we already did. Either way, we're going to take it now. And go around, and before exiting this way, be careful because there's a red-eyed knight that way. If you go past it, past the bridge, there's a lever that opens up a shortcut back to the small wax pool. And another moaning corpse with a scholar ring. Both of those needed for the achievements. So now we can take out the Crystal Knight. I say crystal because his sword has crystals all over it. Give a drop on him. And there is no loot out here. There is an item up there that we will be getting later. Now, though, we can go all the way across the bridge. And to continue farther, we will go down this archway. Before that, though, we can activate this elevator for a shortcut. Get off the elevator and pull the lever to the right of this dead end, which will lower a bookcase leading back to the first two thralls we took care of after dealing with the Crystal Sage. Which leads us right back to the bonfire. And so now let's take this opportunity to get some things done in Firelink Shrine. Back at Firelink, let's sell some things. And while I'm selling stuff, I'll explain that we actually are not going to level up right now. We have gotten the last scroll that we can give to Orbeck. We have to buy all of his sorceries before we end this playthrough anyway. So I personally think it's best to do so now, because if you buy all of the sorceries that you possibly can from him before this next boss, then he can be summoned to help. So I think now is the perfect time to start using our souls for, we don't need these ever anymore. Use our souls for the sorceries instead of for levels. Just for now. Oh, and also, if you want to start leveling up, because now we have our permanent shields. We're going to be using the Dragon Crest shield for the rest of the game. Both New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus. So if you want to start upgrading that, you can, but it takes Twinkling Titanite. So you might want to start saving these instead. That's up to you, though. The only thing that you gain from upgrading your shields is more stability, and more stability means you lose less stamina when you get hit while guarding. Other than that, though, we can sell these. And this, and this, and this, and this. Now, some of these things I'm selling, by the way, can be traded to Pickle Pea and Pumperum. So again, I encourage you to Google what they can be traded for. And that should be everything. And make the decisions on your own. The only things we need to trade for the achievements are one black firebomb, one regular firebomb, and one homeward bone. Actually, no, it's just one homeward bone. The firebombs gain you some upgrade materials early to kind of help you along your way. And we also get that large Titanite slab, which means we can finish reinforcing this. And we can spend the rest of our chunks on this. And as I said, it's up to you if you want to upgrade these. Take some Twinkling Titanite. I forget how much it takes total. But at most, I would upgrade these three right here. And they don't upgrade your stability much, so it's entirely up to you. I don't think I will be doing it. Okay, no Estus. We've got everything we wanted there. So let's spend the rest on sorceries.
Back again, I suppose this.
So give up the last scroll.
Unfathomable. This is a crystal sorcery. I am afraid I will be.
And there's actually a trick to this. He gives you 2 rings and a gesture that are needed for the 100% achievements. So don't just start buying all the sorceries willy-nilly, and instead buy Farron Flash Sword, Pestilent Mist, Oral Decoy, and Spook. So where are those in here? So Farron Flash Sword, Spook, Oral Decoy, and Pestilent Mist. After you buy those 4, back out and talk.
It is folly to claim life, no matter the even as I'm. Oh,
Continue talking,
go on.
and he'll give you the young dragon ring.
How do you like this?
And continue talking, he'll give you Silent Ally and the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring.
With this, it's a very one in Vinheim. A source sort of when I would hear all.
And then he starts repeating himself, which is when you know you've done it. But make sure you do that, because if you don't this playthrough, then you will have to redo and to get all of the scrolls on a next playthrough, which will cut down or increase the amount of time it takes to get that platinum trophy. So now we can start buying up all the souls, and make sure, just in case, under the name Soul Arrow it says sorcery, and under that it says number held. Check to make sure you don't already own one of them, although I don't think you should. The only way that would happen is if one of these can be found in the overworld, and I don't think any of them can. Several thousand souls later, when you buy all the sorceries, talk to him
You
again.
will know all these sources. If this were the well, I suppose I would hate to.
And
see
he talks
everyone
about packing
that
his
left.
bags.
You will know all. If the
Again, when he starts repeating himself,
promise to stay. It's been nice running our own.
he will now be available as a summons for the next boss. So with that done, we can travel back. I want to make sure I don't... Okay. To the Grand Archives. And now we will start tackling the outside of the Grand Archives next time. Until then, stay safe.